So everyone, so here it is, the new lease car for me temporarily. So this is my new Audi A4. This is the black edition. It's the 2-litre TDI 204 horsepower, and it's got the Quattro gearbox on it as well. So let's have a look around and see what we think. So first thing to mention is obviously the style of it and aesthetics. As it goes, I do actually think it's really quite a nice looking car. The black edition body kit on it does look really nice, and the big 19-inch 5-spoke flag style alloys do make it look really, really nice. So in terms of the actual aesthetics of the car, I do quite like it, which is really good. Have a chat about some of the pros and cons of the car and some things I like compared to the VRS, and strangely I'm going to start at the back, because obviously for this car I've chosen to go for the saloon, and there was a couple of reasons for that. The pros and cons of such are that because I was reducing the amount of kit I carry, I wanted and fancied a change, so I went for the saloon, knowing that actually the boot space in these saloons are actually quite big. So when you have a look, and I'll show you how I've Tetrised the back of the car at the moment, all the kit goes in and I'm able to do that keeping the back seat clear. However, where I do miss the VRS is that where you do have the tailgate and the ability to load up the boot, if I'm then doing other things, I can then stack stuff on top and pile it in. So if I'm going out to do an event, or if I'm going to the football at the weekend, I can put chairs and picnics and blankets and stuff just on top of my kit in the boot. Whereas with this, I can't. I'm just limited to whatever's in there. So if I want to go anything else, I have to sacrifice a bit of kit to put something else in. So pros and cons are massive boot on the saloon. All my kit's gone it to the point where I can keep the back seat clear, except for a little bit of PPE, but I do miss the ability to stack in the estate car. Otherwise, I do still like the boot on this. So, having a look inside the vehicle, a couple of things I do really like about it and a couple of things that I do miss about the VRS. So, in terms of the actual layout in the car, the A4 is really, really nice. Everything's built nice and solid. It sounds really good. There's no squeaks, there's no rattles, and it all looks really good. All the controls are easy to get to. So I do really quite like this. A couple of bits I do miss about the VRS and that are different in here. So, for example, silly little things like the door pockets are angled so that I can't get the bottle out. It's a little thing like that, so actually it's a bit awkward to get the bottle out of the door. The cup holder's in the middle. You can't pull straight up because it clunks on the dash. You have to angle it forward. So if you do have a full cup, actually, it can be a bit problematic. Otherwise, everything else in here is really, really good. A couple of other bits to mention about the inside that I like and that I don't like so much. In terms of the actual car and the driving of it, I really like the display. Both the multimedia center is really touch responsive. The navigation's really quick as well, and massive display. And I also like the virtual cockpit in here as well. So in terms of the actual views, you've got a choice of a few views in here as well, and I actually prefer the classic with the two circles displaying everything, and then you can obviously scroll through the views as well, and I like having that map in the middle as well. It does without the need for a head-up display, having it there with the navigation on the way. My own fault though, some of the things I do miss. I forgot to tick the extra storage box when I ordered this car, so it means that down here on the right hand side where there would have been an extra cubby hole where I used to keep various bits, sunglasses and PPE glasses, that's missing. So I do miss that, and I should have ordered it. Also means that I haven't got the nets and the pockets on the back of the doors, so where I used to keep extra stuff back here, easy grab, I haven't got those anymore, which is my own fault. And as part of that pack as well, you also then get the 12-volt power supply in the boot, so I haven't got that. So what I've had to do is run an extension lead from the mid-center bit here. There's 12-volt supply there, and I've run an extension through to the boot because it hasn't got one in there. There's also those extra cubby holes on the left and right hand side as part of that storage pack that I don't have. So my own fault, forgot to tick the extra storage as part of the package, so I'm missing that. Otherwise, the layout in here is absolutely brilliant. So I suppose the only other thing to talk about is actually how it drives compared to the VRS as well. And I'm kind of on the fence of it at the moment. There's some pros and some cons, and I'll go through them as I like them. So to start with the pros, the Quattro gearbox on it is obviously brilliant. So confidence off the line with the four-wheel drive, the ability to pull away from junctions or get away in either wet or slippery conditions has been brilliant. I just found that actually coming out of junctions where the VRS was front-wheel drive only and was very torquey, I'd have to go a little bit easy come out of junctions. On this, I can just plant it and I can go. So confidence off the line in the Quattro gearbox, really, really good. Having said that, the car itself actually feels a bit heavier. So I've seen from other people where they think the VRS actually drives a bit nicer, it's a bit more twitchy, it's a bit more agile. I can see what they're saying. I think with the increased horsepower, the actual speed is fairly equitable. If not, this is a little bit quicker, but the VRS just felt a bit more twitchy, a bit more agile to throw around the corners. This drives brilliantly. It's really, really nice, but the VRS was potentially more fun, whereas this is a lot more safe, which is good, but I'm still on the fence a little bit with its response driving because I'm still very early into how it goes. The other thing I'm a bit on the fence about is the gearbox on it. So the gearbox on the VRS I absolutely loved. So in sport mode and VRS mode, it knew exactly, it maintained revs, it maintained a really good torque, and I was able to push it through corners quite nicely. The gearbox on this at the moment, whether it's because it hasn't quite figured out my driving style yet, but even in sport mode, it seems very quick to want to move up through the gears. So at the point where I've slowed down to go into a corner and it will be in third gear, as I'm trying to progress around the corner and stay planted, the auto gearbox will move up into fourth and potentially fifth as well, because I'm not asking for a lot of power, so it doesn't stay in third, it brings it up into fourth. So sometimes when I'm driving through that and I want to stay in a gear and it shifts, it's a little bit unnerving. So I'm just trying to get used to that gearbox at the moment. You do have the option to go flappy paddle and go manual, but at the moment I'm trying to avoid that. So I'll come back to you on the gearbox on that at the moment. Everything else on it drives really, really nicely. It handles well because, again, the Quattro running gear on it, the actual styling on it, it drives beautifully and it eats up motorway miles brilliantly. So let's have a quick look at the light fit then and see what's going on with that. Nice, so have a quick look at the light fit then. So 999 have done a brilliant job in terms of the actual light fit. It really is spectacular. So in terms of the actual fit itself, we'll talk about the patterning in a minute, but we've got the two piercer blues and the top corners of the windscreen, as well as with the piercer white at the bottom. So the windscreen is nicely covered. Grille lights, as we mentioned, so we've got two blues in the grille just above the number plate, and then the piercer whites underneath. So we've got the 4 projection blues and whites just there as well. With this one as well, what they've also been able to do is fit some extra 3/4 lights down here in the panels, in the quarter panels down in the grille for the Audi, which has been nice. So in terms of the actual forward projection for this, I think you'll agree that it looks really, really good and there's plenty of forward projection on it. Patterning wise, I am still umming and ahhing about, so I'm not entirely sure about the block pattern, the flashing of the blues and the whites, and as you saw in my first response, I think there's moments in this pattern where actually there's periods where there's not any projection, or it's just the whites, and that split second timing with people coming out of junctions could miss that. So I'm going to go back and talk about the actual pattern. We've also got the 3/4 on the number plates as well. So as well as the 3/4 down here in the actual grille, you've got the side projectors as well. So when you're creeping out of junctions, you've got that side one coming out there. Looking at the rest of the profile, and I do quite like the profile of this car, you've got the 3/4 rear light back here as well. And then we come to the back. So I've put the rear reds on as well, so it's alternating between rear blues and rear reds. Obviously when you're just responding, it's just the blues, and then when you're on scene, you get the reds alternating like this as well. And then obviously when you turn up on scene, if you need to get some kit out, you've got the ones at the top there as well. And so that's the light fit on the car. Working your way around, obviously you've got the blues in the other quarter panel as well. So projection wise, I really quite like it. I think it's a brilliant light fit. I think 999 have done a spectacular job with it. And when I get back to them, I'm going to talk about the patterns and we'll have a look and see which ones we prefer. But otherwise, I think it's a really nice light fit on it. So all in all, really happy with the choice of car. We shall wait and see how it goes over the next few weeks when I'm out and about responding in it. But there's a good look around the Audi. Let me know what you think.